The next video we're going to talk about the different tones that make up probably, well, 100% of all rhythm that you're going to learn on congas. And these basically 4 basic tones are very important, and you can spend a lot of time trying to get a really good tone. And that's the other reason why we want to do this all on a low drum, because if you can get a slap on a low drum, then it's not going to take much to get a slap on a higher, more tight head. So I personally would tune my head down a little bit more on the tuba, but that's, you know, everybody can do what they want. If they want to tune the drum down and get it more flabby or not, but I do recommend that you do everything on the low drum, because once you get the tones on the low drum, then getting the tones on the higher drums is no problem. And like I said, the quinto is easier to get a slap because it's a higher pitched drum, but then when you try to do the same thing on the low drum, it's not there. Okay, so again, we're starting with this, and again, the puppet string motion, being very relaxed. And the first pattern, or the first technique or sound I want to talk about is the heel toe technique. And it is very important because it is used in a lot, especially a lot of Afro-Cuban folklore rhythms like rumba, guamanco, and guarapachanguero and everything. This came about with Changuito, a great drummer with Los Mamban, used the heel toe technique also as a way of making double stroke rolls, of making ghost notes in the patterns. So it's definitely important because it's been an evolution of conga playing up till now. And you know, you're going to play a tumbao. A tumbao is a rhythm that is used in popular music, is used in salsa, is used in everything. That's your basic pop music pattern to use, and it is primarily heel toe. So heel toe is exactly what it is. Heel, which is this part of the hand, and toe or tip, not like your toe on your foot, but your heel here is your hand, and then the tip or toe are your fingertips. And when I play a heel, I don't bend my hand like this to just get the heel. I do the whole hand on the surface of the drum, but the impact is on the heel of the fat part of my hand. So I'm getting the heel. This is also important for bass tone on congas. So again, the heel, and then the tip, again, is the tips of the fingers or the toes. The toe is the tips of the fingers. And really all you're doing is coming down, puppet string motion, coming down, and then lifting up, but not lifting your arm off the drum. I rest my wrist on the collar of the drum. So I'm coming down, and then it's as if you're going to say hi to somebody, and you lift that hand up all the way, and you come down and you play the tip. So the important thing is that you want to think of the tip or the toe to be just as loud as the heel. Just by physics, it may not be, but you want it to be, and that way you want to equal out the whole heel toe. This sound is very important because it's kind of like, if you're a drum set player, it's your 8th note, it's your subdivision. So it's the hi-hat, basically. And after I've warmed up, like I did in the previous video, this would be my second warm-up, is just doing heel and toe. So if you start with this, then the best thing to do next for warm-up just be doing heel toe, and then just do one hand at a time. So you're going to go in the same tempo, obviously. Again, I'm not lifting up. I'm not seesawing. So this is the surface of the drum. I'm not coming down and going D like this. I'm going a whole hand and then down. Whole hand, then down. Whole hand, then down. And I'm waving. And then the other hand. Now, a lot of patterns, the heel toe is going to be played with the left hand if you're right-handed. But it's important to be able to do this technique with both the left and the right. Because if you're playing, for instance, if you're playing Wall Won't Go from Matanzas, Cuba, the pattern is basically heel toe for both hands. And I'll show you that in a little bit. So, back and forth, however you'd like, if you want to count it out in fours. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, like that. And the best thing too is to do it in front of a mirror, so you can see if you're lifting up your wrists or not. The next technique that you could use for this, and this is what you would use if you were playing Womoko and Matanzas, is you're going to do 2 heels and then 2 toes. So, and starting with the right hand, if you're left-handed, starting with the left hand, it doesn't matter. You're going to go heel, heel, hip, hip, heel, heel, hip, hip. 1, 2, 3, 4. Or 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. So that's another warm-up session or practice session to work on this technique. Another one that you could do is something that's in 3. So you can start left hand or right hand, and you're going to play a heel toe with one hand and just the tip with the other. So, for instance, like this: 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 3, 1, 2, 3. And notice that on my right hand, I'm not lifting it off the drum. We're not making any tones, so we don't really need to, we can keep both hands on there and relax them. And then, but I'm just doing a tip. So I'm not doing a cue, I'm just doing a tip, so there's no need to lift that whole wrist up. Again, I'll do it again. 3, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. You start with the right hand. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. And now, this was a little technique that was taught to me by my teacher, Michael Spiro, and I call it Spike Myro. And it's basically this little technique exercise, but then you switch at the end of beat 4 or something, in the middle of beat 4. So the way you switch is you go 2, 3, 4. So instead of going left, left, right, left, left, right, left, left, right, left, right, left, right, right, left, right, right, left, right, right, left, right, left, right, between the two hands. So this is just a few exercises for heel toe. And again, it is important to make sure that your toe is just as strong as your heel. And you will see later when I show you Tumbao how this technique, this sound is very important and is used in a lot of rhythms. The next tone is the bass tone. It doesn't matter where we start, but it's the bass tone. The bass tone again is the heel, and you're getting the lower end of the drum. You're doing it right in the middle. I kind of do it kind of off the center of the drum. And to get more bass tone, you lift the drum, and it's really the heel of the hand that's hitting the drum. And again, when you play too, you want to tilt the drum away from you, and then let the air come out from the bottom to give the sound of the drum. So that's the bass tone. The other tones are open tone, muff tone, and a slap tone. Now, it's very important about the open and the muff and the slap. They all entail the same kind of technique. The only difference between an open and a muff and a slap is that the adjustment of the wrist, and it's a very slight adjustment. At first you want to exaggerate it just to get it, but once you start playing more, you want to not make an exaggerated attempt to get that slap. Alright? You want it all to be the same motion and the same hand drum relationship, so to speak. So the open tone, you can see the collar of the drum. The collar of the drum comes around right here. So when I put it down, it's right like that. And you might want to make like a pie piece between your hands. And again, this is why I use the tuba drum, since there's a lot of space. So you don't want to be too far back, because you're not going to get too much of the drum sound. You want to get it so that the heel, the collar, which is, this is what I call the collar, is right here in this right here. Now, I see some conga players play with their thumbs up like that. But if you're just putting your hand down and you lift your thumb up, you can feel all the tension that goes on with doing that. And so eventually you're going to get some kind of tendonitis or something, because you're using all of this extra energy to lift your thumb up. And really the thumb, it's along for the ride. The collar of the drum, again, goes right here between these two knuckles. So it's just along for the ride. It's really not used for any kind of sound or anything. It's just along for the ride. The thumb is used, you know, to look on your phone between songs and to help you carry the drum. So an open tone, this is how naturally my hands are going to lie. Some people are different. Some people can get their pinkies all the way in. But I don't, like the thumb, I don't really use the pinky for a lot of sound. It's mostly these three fingers. And when I do an open tone, again, I'm hitting the drum from here all up. And my fingers are together. So the tone of the drum comes from this surface area right here on both hands. And notice how far in I am on the drum, because I've lifted my wrists. My wrists are lifted. I don't bring my elbows out. It's not about bringing elbows out. It's just keeping your hands flat from your forearms all the way to the end of your fingers, keeping it a flat, even surface like that. And again, we're using this motion, remember, to get the toe. It's the same motion back here for getting an open tone. If you're too far back on the drum, the sound is way too thin. You want to get the full sound of the drum. For the muff tone, it's the same motion, except that you're not letting the drum speak. You're silencing the sound of the drum. So it's the same motion, but you're not letting the drum sing. So a good technique is to go between an open tone and a muff tone, and trying to keep all of that, your wrists up, hitting the drum with the entire 3 fingers, or 4 fingers if you can use your pinky, and not raising your thumb up. Now the slap is going to take a little bit more time. They all are, really, but the slap is a little bit trickier. And the slap sounds like somebody's really hitting the drum, but they're like hard, but it's not. It shouldn't be that way. You shouldn't have to really like lay into the drum to get a slap sound. And those who do, that's why sometimes later on in their playing careers they have to tape up their fingers, because they really just get in there. But it's not necessary. So with the open tone, what you want to think about initially is just, instead of this being all flat, you want to break the wrist. And by doing that, look what happens to my hand. So if I break the wrist, it comes down, and my hand naturally just goes into this cup motion, and my fingers spread. So when I'm playing a slap, I'm up here for an open tone, I come down for a slap. So open tone, slap. And my fingers are spread, and what I'm hitting the drum with are the ends of my fingers. Not the whole finger, but the ends of my finger. And you feel that little sting at the ends of your fingers. Again, use the motion. You're not throwing your arm into the drum. You're just using this very natural, it's like bouncing a ball, really, natural motion to get a slap sound. Open, break your wrist, slap. So a good exercise to do is to work on getting all those different sounds. So you can do let's do 4 opens, 3, 4 muff tones, breaking your wrists and doing 4 slaps. Again. Then you could add bass tones or a heel toe and putting them all together and doing them very slow so that you can hear the difference between each tone. So we could do 4 bass tones, 4 heel toes, open tone, muff tone, slap. Let's do that again. And notice that when you do the heel toe is like the subdivision. So I kind of didn't do that very clearly. So let me try that again and do it a little bit more clearly. So we're going to count it off 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Heel. 2, 3, 4. Open. 1, 2, 3, 4. Mud tone. 1, 2, 3, 4. Slap. Again. That's a really great exercise to work on your different tones. And take as much time as you can on these because these are very important and these are the basis for every conga pattern that you're going to learn. So it's very important to get these tones. Otherwise, these are like your basic vowels and consonants of language that you're learning. And if you don't know how to say the letter A right or the letter B right or put those sounds together in the correct way, then it's going to be very hard to communicate with people when you start making words, when you start making sentences, paragraphs, etc., etc. That is the basis for conga playing as well. These are the consonants and the vowel that you need to learn and you really need to take time on, and to get your hands comfortable and not fight the drum, but to play the music with the drum. And once you get these syllables and consonants and get them down and get them to sound that your slap's not sounding like a muff and vice versa, then you're able to create the sentences, the words, the sentences, and everything else that are the patterns for conga playing.